Good morning, y'all. Welcome to the spin. Welcome to another day. Happy Saturday. Hope everybody had a good week, good work week. Everybody off and having a decent time. Wow, there's a lot of news. Let's do a little bit of shout out. Josh Connor, what's up, man? Kelly Ray, what's up? How you doing? And stuff like that. And whoever else is on, how you doing? How you doing in Facebook? How you doing in YouTube? And how you doing from everywhere? Twitter, Minds, Parlor, MeWe. How are all of y'all doing? Okay, JT. Okay, man. Today's man. Supreme. First thing is the Supreme Court, man. As we know, the Supreme Court has basically just kicked Texas lawsuit to the curb. You know what I'm saying? They say they won't hear it. I don't really know what's actually going on with the other states, but let alone due to the fraud charges for Texas. Basically, the Supreme Court kicks it to the curb. For more information on that, I want to sit there and show this up real quick, and let's get into this. So, no thanks. No thanks. Well, wrong one. Hold on. Okay. Well, wrong one. Hold on. Okay. Wait a second. So hold on real quick. Hold on real quick. Let me try to find. I got a lot of blame tabs in here. For the Barron Trump Pence lawsuit battleground. Hold on. Let me see which ones these are. Texas GOP. Trump before. Let me see something. Okay, found it. Here we go. Sorry about that, y'all. Texas GOP. Okay, here we go.
We have breaking news right now out of the U.S. Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has rejected the Texas-led effort to toss out election results in 4 key states that Joe Biden won. Again, that is a rejection to take up this case. The Supreme Court just issuing that statement. This was, as President Trump called it, the big one, the case that was going to wrap in everything. Trump supporters holding out hope that this could be the case that the Supreme Court would take on its merits and actually argue before the court. That is not happening. Fox News chief legal correspondent, anchor of Fox News at Night, Shannon Bream, tells us what is the decision by the justices. Good evening, Shannon.
Good evening, Brett. We just have a couple of paragraphs, and this is how they spell it out. They say the state of Texas's motion for leave to file a bill of complaint, this state-by-state controversy they wanted to bring to the court directly. It says it's denied for lack of standing. Texas has not demonstrated a judicially cognizable interest in the manner in which another state conducts its elections, saying Texas was claiming here the way that these four other states conducted their elections and changed things at the last minute. Texas accused these states of exploiting the pandemic to change things like witness verification, signatures, voter ID, those kinds of things. The court here basically is saying they don't have a cognizable interest, a legal challenge that we can weigh in on here. Now, there's a statement by Justice Alito. Justice Thomas joins him in this and says, in my view, we do not have the discretion to deny the filing of a bill of complaint in a case that falls within our original jurisdiction. So very few of those cases that go straight to the Supreme Court, but state versus state is one of those things that happens there. They say they grant the motion to file the bill of complaint, but wouldn't grant other relief and don't express their views on other issues. Essentially, what it means here for Texas is that they don't get to move forward. This case is done. You don't have enough. You would have needed 5 justices to move this thing forward. So Texas's last-ditch effort to go after those 4 states and nullify, which essentially would have been, I think, about 39 million votes of other people in those 4 other states. It's not going to happen. The states had all said Texas has no right to do it. And for now, the Supreme Court says this is the end. That case is going nowhere. We're not going to get involved. And Texas essentially does not have what they need here, which is a cognizable interest, and they have a lack of standing. So the case is done. This is it, Brett.
Yeah, that was the big one. Let's bring in Jonathan Turley, professor at George Washington University Law School. Shannon, stand by if you would. Jonathan, we talked earlier this week about the Pennsylvania case that the Supreme Court did not take up and decided to not move forward with, to essentially hear that case, forecasting perhaps that they really were not in this on these cases. However, this how it's written does not foreclose any other pending or future election case coming before them. There are a few more irons in the fire, but the electors vote on the 14th.
Right. And so we're right on the eve of that vote. This is very similar to what happened in the Pennsylvania case. The White House was only able, and Texas was only able to secure 2 justices, and that was primarily on technical grounds that they had to really hear this case, not because of the merits, but because of how it came before the court. Obviously, the other justices, 7 of them disagreed even on that point. And so this is as dead as Dillinger. And the question is, can these other remaining cases still have a chance to make a difference? Tonight, we also had word out of the Wisconsin Supreme Court that they will review a challenge in that state. But that is just one state. And we are now not only running out of runway, we're running out of time.
Yeah. Shannon, bring you back into this conversation as well. Running out of time, but also, as Jonathan points out, you need to have multiple states for the president to essentially take those electoral votes away from Joe Biden, and they are going to vote on Monday. They're supposed to.
And that was the whole goal with Texas, going after big ones that would have really helped the president: Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. So it was very targeted. It was very smart to go after those states, which all of those electoral votes, had they flipped to President Trump, obviously would have changed everything. So now we do have these state level challenges. There's one in Georgia that was filed in state court that folks think has some life to it. But again, that takes a lot of time to proceed through the state court system. Wisconsin Supreme Court has announced that they're going to hear, they're skipping the appellate level there in Wisconsin. They will actually hear oral arguments tomorrow, noon local time there in Milwaukee, to move forward with a case in Wisconsin. So those are 2 critical key states. But as for Texas trying to go after 4 states at once, that math is not going to happen, because this case, as Professor Turley said, this is the dead end for it. So now we're left with these collection of state cases. They're also running out of time and out of landing space, as Professor Turley has said, but they are still active.
Yeah, let's bring in Kristen Fisher at the White House. Kristen, the president had put a lot of eggs in this Texas basket. He talked about it a number of times, including at a Christmas party at the White House, saying this was the big one. Your thoughts about what's going to be the reaction out of the White House? He's tried the state legislatures. It has not worked. These cases seem to have stopped. There's a few more, as we mentioned, but this was the one that he talked about a lot.
Yeah, as you just said, this is the one that he called the big one. Brett, I'm really watching the president's Twitter feed right now, because he has tweeted at least twice today about this case, really putting a lot of pressure on the Supreme Court, and perhaps particularly those 3 Supreme Court justices that he appointed to the high court. He said, he tweeted to them today, to do the right thing, to have courage, have wisdom. He even told them to save the United States of America. So President Trump has really made it no secret that he thought the Supreme Court should take up this case. But now this is definitely another legal blow for the president, his legal team, his campaign, and his efforts to overturn the outcome of this election. And now you have the Electoral College meeting on Monday. But, Brett, it really remains to be seen how much further President Trump intends to go, because as of today, he has tweeted multiple times about this, so we will see. But as of now, no response officially from the White House, the president, or his legal team just yet. But we're watching it, Brett.
Yeah, and obviously the politics of all this is the Georgia runoffs. There's still the Senate control hanging in the balance on January 5th, and how that plays, all of this in that is very important. Last word, Jonathan Turley, on this. It seemed like these legal challenges, some of them constructed in a way that some of the judges, at least when they looked at them, said, I need more meat on the bone as far as evidence that the votes were stolen or fraudulent.
That's right. This Wisconsin appeal to the Supreme Court, which is skipping an appellate stage, does look at these concrete allegations. There's about 221,000 ballots that are being challenged in 2 largely Democratic counties. But with this decision, it's hard to see, even if that was successful, that it would make any difference, obviously, with the balloting coming. Part of the problem, I think, that we're seeing is that many of these cases are being thrown out on standing or procedural grounds. And there are a lot of voters out there who believe that this election was not fairly done, and they don't feel like the evidence has been scrutinized. So I think the Supreme Court decision is going to fuel that objection, because this was made as a threshold procedural issue. Texas simply cannot sue to get other states to change their view of their own laws or practices.
But Jonathan, the fact that they're not even moving forward to hear it suggests that, does it not, that the Supreme Court is kind of laying down a marker that you have to get over this certain point in order, not just on standing for Texas, but on the Pennsylvania case as well?
That's right. I mean, these were not close calls for the Supreme Court. The Pennsylvania case didn't have a single dissenting justice and was dismissed 40 minutes after that last brief was filed. So these are really troubling developments for the Trump legal team. They've never found terra firma in any of these cases. They've never been able to really move this litigation forward. But this is a huge blow, because the president obviously has been talking about it. There are 6 conservatives on the Supreme Court, 3 Trump appointees, and they don't have animus towards the president. The majority obviously does not have that animus. The Republican appointees, 3 of them were appointed by him. They just don't see the law here. They don't see the credible legal argument.
Okay. On this note, what it was saying, especially dealing with this whole case. I mean, just basing it on the virus itself. Because like this, number one is I didn't go into the narrative part in it. So I'm just going to talk to you about the straight facts that I got that actually caught my head, that caught my attention. Number one, they were blaming it on the virus itself. All right. I can see why that's not credible, because number one is that would be, if you're sitting there looking at the law and being a judge in generalization, even though it was them trying to get it because of the virus, right? It wasn't really credible, because in their perspective, that would be more or less speculation. So I do see there, just in generalization, as we could look at, let's just look at this, what I'm saying, for what it is, that I can see the point that the case wasn't presented right. You know what I'm saying? In long form short. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't presented right. Now, the solution to that, you know, would be actually to bring Sidney Powell's proof and all that coming on, dealing with Dominion, um, and that smart company, Sequoia, and all that there. And also with the numbers versus the people that voted, the people that are alive versus the people that live in that county, you know what I'm saying, versus the people that live in that state, whatever numbers that they got, like the logistics, and put that into the Supreme Court. Then I think that Texas or any other state would have a more tangible case to put up in Supreme Court. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can see the little um, red flags that the Supreme Court, you know what I'm saying, would go through because it's all about presentation, and we do have to understand that. You know, I mean, that part of it, I'm not looking at from my point of view as in being biased from what information was put down other than the narrative. Now, when it comes to the actual voter fraud, dealing with the Dominion servers and what they found, and everybody that's all the rhetoric that was coming from Michigan and all this stuff. This is the stuff that I think that we should be really looking at, and I think they should go more or less in that angle. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, the rhyme gets rougher as the rhyme goes on. Next story I have up. Let me see. All right. Well, since this came out, all right, Hunter Biden. Okay, we were talking about this for a while. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with the with the laptops, with all that stuff, dealing with pedophilia, his dealings with China, his dealings with basically every single anti-American um, organization. You know what I'm saying, such as Ukraine and all that. And we got news that AG Barr already knew. Now, just to let y'all know and all that stuff like that, I've been talking about this before this even came out. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with even when I first started about the laptops from hell, and all that stuff. And what I want to do is that during that time, that was a time that I got kicked off of Facebook, kicked off of Twitter, and all that type stuff. So, anyways, as it sit there, as it comes out, right? I'm gonna give you all the news, right? All the news that the press said about the laptop and saying that was fake. There was no evidence, all this stuff like that. So this is thanks to the truth.com to give all them get this kaleidoscope of cuts of the fake news saying that the laptop, that all that was bogus, there's no proof, all that stuff. That's for you to see that this is what the news, this is what the propaganda was saying. Now all this stuff ties in, all right, to dealing with dealing with this um, um, election and how to attack this. Let's check this out. Make sure this is the right one. Yeah.
Biden's tax affairs about more than just tax error or miscalculation. Prior to the presidential election, his laptop was at the center of several explosive reports by the New York Post that shed some light on overseas business dealings in China and Ukraine. Is this just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to China's influence in the U.S.?
Huge developments in the growing Hunter Biden scandal, and his father has some major explaining to do. The president-elect's son under federal investigation, and it involves a lot more than just his tax affairs, like Hunter claimed yesterday. Sources telling Fox News the probe started in 2018, and investigators are looking into suspicious money from foreign countries, including China. Pressure now building on Joe Biden to speak out publicly after repeatedly claiming that he and his son Hunter did nothing wrong.
This was the headline in Politico before the election. It said Hunter Biden's story is Russian disinformation, dozens of former intel officials say. Nothing to see here. Don't look at it. Well, guess what their headline is now? Look at this. Justice Department interest in Hunter Biden's covered more than taxes. Oh, apparently that's a big deal. But also, let's look at what NPR said. This is taxpayer-funded NPR. Why haven't you seen any stories from NPR about the NY Post Hunter Biden story? And they go on to explain why they're ignoring it. But now here's what our taxpayer-funded media outlet is saying. President-elect Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, says he was recently informed that he's under federal investigation. By the way, this is the New York Post headline on October 15th that they were showing that NPR is referring to. Remember this one? Censored. This was the Post, not only were other media outlets not picking it up, but Facebook and Twitter both blocked it.
President-elect's son saying, I learned yesterday for the first time that the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware advised my legal counsel also yesterday that they are investigating my tax affairs. We do not know what they are investigating. During the campaign, of course, much was made of his connections and business dealings with Ukraine and China. We don't know if they are focused on those. We do know, though, that the probe was disclosed just about 5 days before Joe Biden is expected to formally become the president-elect. He's all but that right now with the Electoral College meeting to settle the issue once and for all.
It's unbelievable. And one more for you. Please bear with me because I couldn't help myself. This was CNN. This is the esteemed Wolf Blitzer talking to Adam Schiff from California, who is the chairman of the Intel Committee. Take a listen.
Take a look at this picture of the president in the Oval Office holding up a copy of the New York Post touting this conspiracy theory. It's made its way all the way to the commander-in-chief with a big smile on his face.
No one has indicated of any consequence that anything was done wrong or illegally by me or by my son. My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about? China is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it. There's absolutely zero basis to the accusation that I acted any way inappropriately or that my son did. You know there's not one single bit of evidence, not one little tiny bit, to suggest anything done was wrong.
You know, Joe Biden in one of those debates said that my son Hunter has nothing to do with China, nothing, which now clearly that's not the case. And the media is acting as if they had no idea that this was happening. But unfortunately, that's not the case. National Review wrote this story. Check this out. October 29th, before the election, FBI investigating Hunter Biden for money laundering. It was out there. They chose not to run with this. But when it came to the Russian dossier, Tom, and I was there getting the phone calls saying, hey, we've got this unverified dossier. What's your comment on it? They had no problem running with that. But when these Hunter Biden stories come out, they ignored them because they didn't want to believe them. They didn't want their guy to lose.
But the liberal media and members of the other political party chose to dismiss our work, even falsely claimed that our work was Russian disinformation. And I think they did this in order to protect leaders of the other party. So you can understand why I think it's very outrageous that the fourth estate would choose to ignore facts when they are uncovered by Republicans. Senator Johnson and I don't do oversight work just for the fun of it.
Effectively, the conflict of interest, right, with one being a politician and yet having family members that are involved in some affairs that might put a politician in a compromising position. This investigation, what we've learned, was going on back in 2018. And Hunter Biden allegedly just found out about it yesterday. So he tells us likely was a covert operation. They may have been looking into, and again, this, by the way, I should emphasize, we don't know a whole lot yet, right? But nonetheless, what we do know is from that laptop, that now infamous laptop, right, that was discovered at the Delaware computer shop, that had all of those emails between Hunter Biden, alleged emails, I guess I should still say, because he has not come out and actually confirmed that they are his. But nobody said they were made up either.
Welcome viewers to my channel's annual charity fundraiser. 20 years ago, I personally started
of the last time that there was actual ongoing federal criminal investigation of a president's child. I don't know that that's ever been done. So this is real serious from a criminal point of view. And of course, it raises immediate issues about Joe Biden and his appointment to the Attorney General and the White House's future influence on a future Attorney General and the entire Department of Justice. I can't imagine Biden won't get pressured into appointing independent counsel to handle this investigation.
When you hear critics say, well, President Trump's children have been looked at too, what do you say to those critics? Compare these cases, if you could.
Yeah, there was not a formal criminal probe of one of the Trump children. There was a generalized probe about collusion to see wherever it took them. Mm-hmm. And that took them to Paul Manafort, it took them to other places. But there was never anything this specific, this targeted at a presidential child, because they didn't have sufficient evidence against the Trumps. Apparently they do against Joe Biden's son.
What we're seeing was big tech and the left-wing mainstream media team up together to try and hide a story about
That's real
Hunter
shit.
Biden.
They kicked my ass off.
Investigations into Hunter Biden before the election, and the mainstream media called that Russian disinformation. Big tech tried to silence it. And now that we're after the election, they are coming out and talking about it. It's unbelievable how biased and how extreme it is and how obvious it is that the media is against Donald Trump. Where's Hunter? We asked that question for months. He's under federal investigation.
So emails between somebody who was once a prominent figure in the energy business, ran a big energy company in China, had ties to the CCP, it is alleged, and Hunter Biden. And there were all these negotiations going on. We know, of course, about his Burisma dealings. And you start to say to yourself, Emma, what the heck? His father, don't forget, at the time of the Burisma deal, was Vice President of the United States in charge of Ukraine policy. And it just, again, seems to me that there should be more of a Chinese wall, right? No pun intended, when it comes to one's family and one's business dealings if you're in politics. That's the life his dad chose.
We are talking about multiple nations now that we have to worry will have undue influence, could have had undue influence. There may be undue influence into the Biden family. And what happened? The media lied about it to the American people. It's unbelievable the total disservice they have done to our country in covering what has happened. We sounded the alarm on this on the campaign for months about talking about what happened to Hunter Biden and what was going on. And it is so important that the media start to get this right.
Now this right here, man. It was right. Even I was talking about it. We all were talking about it. You know what I'm saying? We were all was talking about this bullshit. Okay, I didn't really want to talk about it because I want to know what happened with the Iran-Obama deal. You know what I'm saying? But they were just sitting there. But I know that they were all covering this up. I was even kicked off of Twitter. I was even kicked off of Facebook. When all this stuff was going down. Like, what was it? My birthday was Facebook, and about a week before the election, something like that, I was kicked off of Twitter. And this is some real shit because they were covering up for the Biden scandal. We gotta sit there and really look at this for what it is, because it's like this: if they would have sat there and they put the Bidens out there like that, then it would have affected the 2020 vote. Okay, then they wouldn't. There would have been no way in hell they would have caught up, especially dealing with James, his brother, and all that stuff like that. I mean, there was a lot of things happening. You know what I'm saying? Lots of things happening. I forgot to put this one post up. During that time before the election, you can go back. You can go back to my old post when I sat there and I talked about the Joe Biden and all that stuff like that. What was happening? Well, then it comes out to this. Okay, let me share. Okay, the Chinese connection. Okay, let me. I'm trying to get to this post right here. Okay, now this right here, you know what I'm saying, wasn't showed 1928. This right here wasn't showed on the news, okay, at all. All right, but this was out. But this was out yesterday, and this is something that I gotta be seen, which is not shown on the news. And why ain't this on mainstream? You know, on a feel real. Why isn't this on mainstream?
Puppet master is at that moment. So watch this clip and then we'll talk about it.
Good enough. You're saying right now you volunteer to be special prosecutor. And if you were appointed special prosecutor before the 20th of January, noon on the 20th, in front of a grand jury, you're confident that you could bring an indictment about their compromise by the Chinese Communist Party and taking money from the CCP. That is correct. That's what you're saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm quite confident I could bring the Ukraine case. That one I have 22 witnesses. And I have tape recordings. I mean, the Ukraine case is 100% made case for which I was tortured, pilloried, threatened with disbarment, threatened with prosecution.
This is why people love you, Mayor, because they understand you're a honey badger, you're relentless. They don't care. You don't care how you mock.
I have to tell you, I'm
ridicule.
very, very sad about this. This isn't something that I'm happy about. To see something like this happening to the presidency of the United States gets you close to wanting to cry. I mean, I never thought I'd see a day in which somebody like this would be stepping into the White House, where I would possess in my records the evidence that shows that he's been a career criminal.
Mayor, I know you've got to bounce. And you've got to take care of yourself, Mayor. The entire world needs you. So we got to keep you healthy. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Commercial break.
So for this Joe Biden thing, with the Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, James Biden, all these cats. All right, this investigation was going on for a while. Then it comes to me talking about AG Barr, which I talked to about AG Barr last week, of that he already knew about this whole investigation with the Bidens and all this stuff, that this was ongoing. And now that it's after the election, now they're putting it out there. Okay. We have Joe Biden, okay, with the Ukraine, which I haven't really gotten to the Chinese connection yet. You know what I'm saying? We have the fraud, dealing with the statistics and the numbers on how this vote was going, which Texas sat there and came out with their lawsuit that was shut down by the SCOTUS due to them blaming it on the COVID, which me personally, I think it was stupid. Okay. We haven't gotten to the Chinese dealings with James Biden, with sitting there, Feinstein, which I forgot to put that on there. Senator Feinstein, Pelosi with their Chinese connections, and also how the CCP is all through our colleges and all through all of our other stuff. So even though this is happening, what they're doing is just still gradually but surely, drip by drip, getting getting our national security assets. If you just want to look at it that way. So as the system, so as it goes on, let me take this off. Let me find something else. Oh yeah, here's some more information on the Biden case while I'm sitting there looking for other stuff because I forgot to put one on. Hold on one second. Stop. Fourth investigation.
Criminal investigation into the Biden family that appears to be focused specifically on Hunter Biden's business dealings with China and his relationship with Burisma Holdings in Ukraine. So this is now the fourth federal investigation that has been reported in recent days. According to the New York Times, it was launched by agents in Pittsburgh at the request of Attorney General William Barr, based on information that he received and forwarded to them from Rudy Giuliani. So it raises a lot of questions about what was going on with Hunter Biden, with his Uncle Jim, and potentially their U.S. and foreign business deals. Who was involved in them? What exactly were they selling? And why, in one instance, was a diamond given to Hunter Biden in return? So how about this one? Where did all the money go? And did they ever compromise themselves? Does China have anything that they could hold over the Biden family? Remember, their former associate, Tony Bobulinski, had all of these similar concerns. Watch this.
I remember looking at Jim Biden and saying, how are you guys getting away with this? Like, aren't you concerned? And he looked at me and he laughed a little bit and said, plausible deniability.
Today, President-elect Joe Biden had the first opportunity to clear up some of these questions. He was asked, but instead, we got this.
Did Hunter Biden commit a crime? Have you spoken to your son, Mr. President-elect?
So for now, the American people will remain in the dark on this.
And you've seen that he said that his son had nothing to do with it. And now he's proud of his son.
Should he have spoken about it before the election? We certainly heard a lot from Jim Comey in the wake of the Clinton-Trump election, I should say. And B, how would a President Biden handle this situation? A case targeting members of his own family with his DOJ at the helm. In moments, we will get reaction to all of this from Victor Davis Hanson. Later in the hour, Kim Strassel joins us, and Greg Jarrett is here as well on the media's handling of this story throughout the course of the election and now. But first, we start with former U.S. Attorney Brett Tolman. Brett, great to have you here tonight. Thank you.
Good to see you, Martha.
First of all, your reaction to, good to see you too, to this new information that
You gotta remember, JT, this is a war. This is crazy. One side fighting the other.
In Pittsburgh to dig into this whole issue of the laptop and Burisma. This just came out tonight.
Yeah, it's not surprising. Certainly, he has an obligation once he receives evidence or information to pass it to someone that might inquire as to the legitimacy of it. That happens all the time. When I was U.S. Attorney, I had from various sources, and my first and initial response was to send it to investigators and to prosecutors who can vet the information and see if there's anything to it. So I'm not surprised that he did that.
So here's a clip from the interview that I did with the Attorney General about a year ago, December 19th, and I asked him about how he was handling everything that we were hearing about from Rudy Giuliani. Watch this.
Are you interested in seeing the evidence that Rudy Giuliani has been gathering in Ukraine?
the Department of Justice is interested in seeing all evidence that could be relevant.
Does the DOJ have any plan to investigate Joe Biden or CrowdStrike or Ukraine and the DNC server or Burisma? Are any of those on your radar?
I couldn't say one way or the other, but you shouldn't read anything into that.
So, Brett, I mean, you have to take everyone back to remember what was going on at this time. There's a lot of pressure to investigate Hunter Biden. And the Attorney General was cautious in his answer to me on that. But, you know, did we deserve during the election to know more about this, that we're now learning 4 investigations going on into the family?
Well, first of all, I think it was great that you had that moment. You were one of the few asking some of those tough questions. And I think by his response, we can certainly see there was some knowledge there. There was something that he was trying to be careful. They have a policy in the Department of Justice to not confirm or deny the existence of an investigation. But you hit on the issue I think is important, and that is what we saw happen after that was stories about Russia disinformation, 50-plus former intelligence officers indicating that there was nothing here, that this was from Russia. At that point, I believe the Attorney General absolutely had an obligation to correct the record, to make sure that that was not the case, that there was information to suggest that they at least were going to look into it. And that's okay for the American people to know that they had credible leads into potential laundering of money or the movement of money that might have been illegal involving Hunter Biden. That should have been said. There was enough time to do that prior to things ramping up in the election.
Do you believe that the information that is out there so far that suggests that Joe Biden is not part of who is a subject here should have exonerated the Attorney General from his requirement or the guidelines that he operates under that would say that you wouldn't want to raise something like this so close to an election?
Yeah, I mean, this is something where the Attorney General, who certainly he's old school, he was the Attorney General many, many years ago before we were in the political atmosphere that we are. But this called for a different response. And I think what we're going to see now is a lot of the details coming out, and people are going to be frustrated. They're going to be upset because let me tell you, it's not just the laptop that triggered this investigation. When you have suspicious activity reports that are being filed by financial institutions, and you have the laptop, and then you have Bobulinski, you have the makings of a fairly large-scale investigation into the illegal movement of money that is involving multiple people. That's a conspiracy.
Just very quickly, this is from John Solomon's reporting, an email on Hunter Biden's laptop that was obtained by John Solomon from one of the executives at Rosemont Seneca says, to Hunter Biden, in 2014, you joined the Burisma board, and we still need to amend your 2014 returns to reflect the unreported Burisma income. That's approximately $400,000 extra, so your income in 2014 was close to $1.2 million, and you see the rest of the numbers there. It's a lot of money that we're talking about here. Brett, what would sort of raise a lot of red flags for you there?
Follow the money.
Well, the amount is certainly substantial. And in the end, we could be surprised and this just simply be a tax evasion or a failure to report income. But I'm highly doubtful that that's going to be the end result of this investigation. Bobulinski's information seems to be matching up with the fact that a lot of income was coming through, that Hunter was at the helm. He was guiding and directing that income. And we know that China and other countries were at issue here. So I think this might be just the tip of the iceberg, Martha.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we said, what exactly were they being paid for and who was receiving the money? Brett Tolman, great to have you with us tonight. Thank you, Brett.
Thank you, Martha.
So the Biden transition team held a briefing today. The organizers did not call on Fox News reporters. They were not asked about Hunter Biden in this briefing. Instead, they fielded questions like these. Watch.
Is there any more you can say about conversations with the outgoing administration?
What's his view on whether the Nord Stream 2 pipeline should go ahead?
When will the president-elect be getting the COVID vaccine?
So it's clear that the press, admonished by Biden back in October in this clip, is still failing to ask these, obviously now more than ever, relevant questions. Remember this?
I know you'd ask it. I have no response. It's another smear campaign. It's right up your alley. They're the questions you always ask.
So here now, Victor Davis Hanson, Senior Fellow at the Hoover Institute and author of The Case for Trump. Victor, always good to see you tonight. I want to ask you about the press response, but I want to start with a question about the election. Do you think that if this information had been out there, these investigations had been confirmed before the election, do you think it would have made a difference?
I think it probably would have. There's polls that suggest maybe 8 or 9% would be persuaded. We have an election where 50,000 strategically located votes, that's not very much at all, would have changed the Electoral College count. I know that Attorney General Barr didn't want to put his finger in the scale, but Joe Biden and his team had put their fist on it. And by that, I mean they were using the silence of the DOJ to misrepresent the actuality of their own culpability. And that not only did they recruit former intelligence officers to attest that this was some crazy Russian collusion, that was a complete lie, but they repeatedly said the fact that they were not under investigation was proof of their innocence. And that was deliberately misleading, and that was empowered by the silence. I think Bill Barr did not want to be an Eric Holder wingman to the president or a Loretta Lynch meet on the tarmac with somebody. And I think they had smeared him very viciously and unfairly during the Mueller's investigation. But I think he should have told us to balance the reality. But just very quickly, it's part of a pattern that's very disturbing, Martha, because with this government political media nexus, we got a lot of misrepresentations. Suddenly, we were told before the election there would be no stimulus when lives and livelihoods were in danger. After the election, it's going to sail through. Suddenly, before the election on October 16th, Pfizer said, you know, we were going to make a big announcement. Here it is. We don't want to play politics about whether the vaccination is useful or safe. Suddenly, 2 weeks later, 6 days after the election, a little bit, oh, it's safe and we're going to use it. And by the way, we didn't have anything to do with Operation Warp Speed, which was untrue. And then when you get into Eric Swalwell, we knew, we being the government and the investigatory agencies knew months before the election that he had been compromised, and yet suddenly we don't know this until after the election. And when you put Antifa and BLM that were rioting and looting and doing this all summer and creating this landscape of chaos, and then suddenly a week or so they magically dissipated, and they still are for the most part, and that creates a suspicion among the electorate. They say, why were all these things kept, and what's the pattern? And the pattern is the media has fused with the progressive agenda and the bureaucratic state. That sounds conspiratorial, but we didn't get all the facts necessary to make the proper judgment. We didn't have enough criteria, and yet this president may enter office the most ethically compromised and the most legally vulnerable of any president that we've seen in our lifetime.
So, all this right here, man. All right. What we have here, man, this is very, very serious, man. You know what I'm saying? That not alone is our national security basically compromised. We know damn well he had days with Burisma and the Ukraine, also dealing with Romania and dealing with China and dealing with Russia. You know what I'm saying? So all this is sitting there coming up. And just to sit there and put it all up here, I found a collage. Found a collage of stuff. Here is what the press was saying. This was all before the election. All this was before the election of what the press, because number one is the only way we can sit there and do that is sit there and prove the lies to you of what the press. Okay, all this is coming out on Hunter Biden right now. All right, all this is out on Hunter Biden. Now that it's all on Hunter Biden. This is what the news was saying before.
This is one of the best clips ever because it shows you how much of a lying, corrupt media establishment we have in our country, because they silence voices like mine, because me and other people who got kicked off of YouTube, like Dave from X22 Report, Praying Medic, you name it, go down the line, Amazing Polly, there were so many, Matrix, the rest, and we were all truth tellers. We had the same reach at one point before they fixed the algorithms as these fake news companies. We were actually getting more traffic than them, so they had to shut us down so they could do this. Now watch it.
want to deal in fact because there is so much speculation out there and there is zero evidence that Hunter Biden or Joe Biden did anything wrong here.
We should note, again, and you and I have said this in the air many times, there is no evidence that Joe Biden was, involved in any wrongdoing.
Of course, want to note that there is no evidence that Joe Biden or Hunter Biden has done anything wrong.
I just want to reiterate.
And let's be clear for the viewers.
There is no evidence Biden did anything wrong.
I'll note again, because it's important.
There is no, I repeat, no.
There is no evidence that either Biden did anything illegal.
There's been no evidence. There was no evidence.
There's no evidence. There is no evidence.
There is not an iota of evidence.
No evidence Biden did anything wrong.
There's really
no evidence
that Joe Biden
did anything wrong.
Nobody's ever accused that. There's no
evidence whatsoever that Joe Biden did anything wrong.
Got that?
Joe Biden did nothing wrong.
Hunter Biden did nothing wrong. Biden's secret emails.
A really fishy story.
The Post claimed that the emails were found on a laptop computer that was brought to a repair shop in Delaware in the spring of 2019.
The FBI is now investigating whether those alleged Hunter Biden emails are actually connected to a larger foreign intelligence operation.
They may be related to a foreign intelligence operation.
Foreign intelligence operation.
Foreign intelligence.
Foreign intelligence.
Foreign intelligence operation.
For all we know, these emails are made up.
The information found on the laptop may be part of a Russian disinformation campaign.
Part of a Russian disinformation effort.
Described by many intelligence experts as having hallmarks. All the hallmarks, rather.
All the hallmarks of a Russian
disinformation.
Russian disinformation
campaign.
This is a classic example of the right-wing media machine.
Don't drag the intelligence community into this. Hunter Biden's laptop is not part of some Russian disinformation campaign. The intelligence community doesn't believe that because there's no intelligence that supports that.
So there you see, we're up against a propaganda machine.
Now, all that was all before the election, before Biden even got elected to office. Now, what would you think that would happen, right? If all this did come out on the mainstream before the election on why it's coming out now. I mean, I'm sitting there putting I'm sitting there putting the proof inside the pudding. Okay? I mean, this right here, man, tells it all. You saw all of today's in the past 24 hours about Joe Biden, about Joe James and Hunter. JJH, we'll call them. All right? How the news sat there and said, there's no proof, it was Russian disinformation and all that stuff like that on every single mainstream news network. Every single one. And I just showed you a collage, a supercut of everything that was put out before the election, even when I put it out when I got kicked off. And now today they're talking about it. Is there something wrong here? Is there sort of a pattern in here? For all y'all liberals out there, really, as it's like this. Do you believe now that the press is lying to you and suppressing information? You know, I mean, share this. Really share this. You're saying time code this. Everything I'm sitting there showing you. You know, I mean, this is unreal. This is unreal. And then when I seen JT, well, they're not going. It's all going to be the way that. What did he say? That yeah, he'll get removed. Like, look, Josh. What are we going to do as a people? You know what I'm saying? All this information I'm putting out. What are we going to do as a people? You know? I mean, here's something that's very crazy. You know what I'm saying? What was just about to happen? You know, due to what's happened with the SCOTUS, what happened with the SCOTUS and all that stuff. Hold on 1 second. Let me find that for you. Hold on 1 second. Let me make it small again. I'm trying to find another. lost that. Hold on, I'm just trying to find it for you. Hold on one second. I'm still looking. See. Oh, that was a Gateway Pundit. Yeah. Gateway Pundit. Going by memory of where I saw it because I forgot to actually put the man. It's not letting me go on the Gateway Pundit. Wow. Hold on. They take that off or something. Hold on one second. Gateway. Gateway Pundit. Let's see. Go ahead and put that on there. Sorry for the. Okay, Supreme Court throws lawsuit against Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Michigan. Okay, that's already out. Already did that. Yeah, here we go. Found the article. All right, here we go. Now here's what else is happening. All right, found it. I'm glad I remembered. Not that one. Not that one. Okay, share screen. Now through all this bull crap, I'm still hitting it. Hold on. Okay. Wow. Share screen. Here we go. Texas Chairman Ellen West suggests succession after schools allow complete lawlessness within the 2020 election. Chairman West responds to the SCOTUS decision Austin released December 11 for immediate release. Chairman Ellen West's statement regards the decision by the Supreme Court to dismiss Texas' constitutional legitimate critical lawsuit. The Supreme Court is tossing the Texas lawsuit that was joined by 17 states and 106 congressmen have decreed that the state can't take that the state can take unconstitutional actions to violate its own election law, resulting in damaging effects on their states that abide by the law. Will the guilty state suffers no consequences. This decision establishes a precedent that says that states can violate the U.S. Constitution and not be held accountable. The decision will have to have a far more reaching ramifications for the future and constitutional republic. Perhaps law-abiding states should bond together and form a union of states that will abide by the Constitution. U.S. Texas GOP will always stand for the Constitution and the rule of law, even if others don't. Interesting. Interesting. Adam Kingsley. More from Adam West tonight. This seems like we're out of here. Is actually that they're the ones that should succeed. Let these other states go on their own separate way and let them not be supported by these states such as ourselves. So it's actually happening. Now this right here is very, very, very scary. Very scary. You know, I mean, this right here seems like this is the beginning of the Civil War, like in 1861 when the Civil War started. That now the thing of law-abiding states seceding from the Union. Then comes to think about what about the ones that are surrounded by democratic states? They're going to turn blue because they'll wind up attacking them. I mean, this is where we're at, man. I mean, this is where we're at now. So we got states talking about succeeding, all right? We got the lies on the Biden case that's now coming out, and now that's coming out true. We got this election fraud going on, okay? Oh yeah, we might as well say now that we're sitting there now that we're talking to quote unquote aliens. All right, y'all know my views on that. Okay. Also, we still have Nancy Pelosi, and Feinstein with their Chinese connections. All right, and Scalar. We had all this stuff happening at one time. Don't you think it's funny? Don't you think it's funny? Very, very funny what's going on. Don't you see any red flags here? I just showed you the news flip. Just shows you what's happening after the what SCOTUS allows with Pennsylvania and these other states. Shall I go on? Oh yeah, and the threats by the representative out there in Michigan. By the way, the Michigan governor backs her up, saying that they shouldn't take this. It's overstepping taking her out of her committees just because of what she said while drinking a drink and talking shit on Instagram, online, whatever the hell she was talking about, whatever the hell she was talking on, and threatening and threatening Trump supporters, not Republicans. Trump supporters are people who support or support his policy. Can you see it, yo? Can y'all see it? Well, it's been like an hour or so I'm gonna kick off. If anybody wants to come on and sit there and put their opinion on, has a question or anything like that, feel free. I'll give y'all a couple minutes to come in. All right. And here you go. So if y'all have any opinions or want to say something, there's a few minutes for y'all to. Right, exactly. It makes you want to think they want a civil war. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to sit there and come up, Josh, you can. If you have some things to say in your opinion from what I've showed and, you know what I'm saying, showing all this confirmation, you can come up. Anybody can come up. There it is. There's a few minutes, you know. And after that, then I'll sit there and I will sign off. Oh boy, what a day! What a day! So how's everybody doing? How you doing, JT? How you feeling? There you go.
Brother.
What's up, Josh? How you feeling, man?
Oh man, I don't really know what they want, what the end game is, other than they want us to the second he does the Insurrection Act or Civil War or anything like that breaks out, I mean they're gonna bring in the New World Order faster than you can blink.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is what's happening now, man. I mean, the state, as you can see, the states are getting fed up.
Yeah, I mean, how can he have 300 federal judges he appointed and not one will hear arguments? Not one?
Well, I think this goes into goes into the different courts and stuff like that that's put it up there. But let alone here's what I do get about it though, right? All right. Let's just look at this like in a regular job in a way they, you know what I'm saying, that basic social bureaucratic protocol bullshit. Okay? And that's what hold up, there it was. What's up, Kelly? How you doing?
I'm good. Hey everyone, just give me a second. It's like a crackle.
All right. But everybody goes through like the social social bureaucratic bullshit. Either if it's doing with a company or something like that. Now, from the understanding, from what I've seen, you know what I'm saying, on those clips that I put up, that their case was just on using the virus to take over the election. And let's sit there and let's look at this logically and practically. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're going by the Constitution verbatim. All right. Me personally, I'm not going with the I'm going to mindset if I was a SCOTUS, all right, and it's the right thing to do, that even though I personally feel that way, but due to, you know what I'm saying, that everything has to be exact, bullet pointed, pinpointed, just for it to be a case, I'm going to have to say I agree with the decision on the grounds of looking at this, you know what I'm saying?
I
As in,
agree with their
he
decision
said,
too.
yeah, he said on a he said, she said shit. All right. And basically that's what Texas did. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not triggered over it like some
I'm
people. Go
I'm
ahead.
more triggered over all the other courts that have had a chance to hear the arguments and at least present evidence. Nobody will do it.
Because number one, it's like a net, man. There's no
Oh
water.
yeah.
All the fish are flapping. All
Yep.
right. You know, you're saying it's like a net. All the fish are flapping and we see it. Now, it wouldn't surprise me. All right, since they're doing that, okay, let's bring Sidney Powell stuff up there to the Supreme Court because after all, this is federal. This is dealing with the election. You know what I'm saying? And remember, and the only reason being I'm saying this is because in a way it seems like a chess move. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm not taking sides of anything. I'm just looking at it, you know what I'm saying, in third person from what I see, without my opinion. Well, with my opinion, but a logical, I won't even say opinion. I'm going to say hypothesis, an educated guess. Okay? Few weeks, well, it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, that Sidney Powell wasn't a part of the Trump with the Trump team. Okay, so we have all these different affidavits and all that, which holds in court as evidence.
At least to bring out a case to at least look at everything and let's find out everything. Let's see what
Right,
is there. But
but can this be a strategy? You know what I'm saying? I'm just asking questions here
yeah,
because
I hear you.
right, because number one is we have all these hearings and all that stuff, all this proof, all this film, and all that stuff is federal. So while all this is piling up and they're putting these little peon cases, basically what it is that it's the mainstream news media is just trying to throw everything out there, every type of negativity you can throw out there. just to make the Democratic Party and Biden look good. All right,
Can I
and
just?
and
Oh wait.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Just tell
no,
me
go
what.
ahead. Speak your mind. Speak your
No, I'm
mind.
saying let me throw this out here, just as a let's say what would you call it? Let's go down let's use conspiracy. Okay. What if I said this is all planned? The stage is set. It looks good. You know, they did a good job with presentation and trying to show that they're trying to quote unquote follow the law when they already knew what they wanted to do and the plan was in motion.
I think this plan was in motion for years.
I mean, meaning that, you know, they knew they wanted Biden. It was over for Trump.
This is before Trump. I really think this is before Trump, though, Cal.
Oh, yeah. But I'm just saying, in general, they know and pick. That's why they always, you know how they say the president is always selected, not elected. But I'm saying the show they are putting on, okay, with the court and this and that, to give people faith in the system, where there really is only one system, and it's the system they want.
You know what? I mean, I get what you're saying, but also on the other hand of your point, I mean, I can honestly say I don't know. What I do know is that there's two opposing sides with two different narratives, and both sides hate Trump, and that brings a red flag. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but how does the girl that he just brought this broad in, and she goes against him immediately?
Who? Sidney
Amy
Powell?
Coney Barrett. The Supreme Court Justice Barrett. Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, look. I says, look. As I said, like what I talked about earlier, the social bureaucratic bullshit. Okay, if I was a Supreme Court justice, okay, and from the judgment and what I am looking and also what I have read on why, I get the point. Okay, because number one is the judges are supposed to be unbiased. Okay, it was the presentation of Texas when they put the suing out there that made them throw it out because it was he say, she say. And that's the way and that's the way I'm looking at it from their perspective if you want to be unbiased.
I want to know what the plan is to make all of these judges hold the line. They're not caving. They're all holding the same line, which is there's nothing. Don't look here. It was clear election. This is happening. And Biden's going to get inaugurated. He's either going to get inaugurated or Washington D.C. is going to be burned down.
I'm going to say I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to stay on I don't know. I know what could happen. I see both sides of the coin. You know what I'm saying? And both and you bring a valid point, and Kelly brings a valid point. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit there and disregard your points.
Right.
But what if? Okay, I mean, because there's still another, there's still another angle to this. I mean, just by how the cards are being played. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, dude. I mean, common sense would tell you if you're that smart that you want to go by he say, she said. You know what I'm saying? And all
I understand why the Supreme Court did what they did. Another state can't sue another state over the state's constitution. I see that point, but
I think it should go more toward the U.S. election, and the only way to sit there and for them to actually hear it is to bring Sidney Powell's case into the federal level because this is federal fraud. And with all the affidavits, proof, and film, and all that, the Supreme Court should take this case right away.
It's pretty clear they're not allowed to change their election rules before the election without the state legislature, but they did it. And nobody's going to say, no judge is going to pick that up and at least look at it.
But
Something's up, man. I'm telling you.
I know something. I know something's up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I mean, I'm just as pissed. But number one is I'm not going to dwell on the problem. I'm thinking what they should do is sit there, activate Sidney Powell, and bring her shit up to Supreme Court because this is people versus people versus a
She
campaign.
can't bring it to the Supreme Court if it keeps getting thrown out before anything else. That's the thing.
But here's what I'm saying is with the proof and all that, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sure if they have a whole bunch of, I'm sure there's a loophole in how to do that with that. That's why I'm saying I'm leaving that door open because that right there, as far as I can see, is basically the last gun that we have.
Yeah, the way it works though is you go to court, you lose, and then you file an appeal, you lose the appeal, and then you can appeal to the Supreme Court. And none of that's happened because it's never been in court.
Right. Well, as I said, we're going to have to see. I mean, the only thing I did was I sat there and I put out what was already out there, and
Yeah.
and then the rest of it, it's all is just speculation. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. Not conspiracy theory. I'll just say speculation, because we all know for a fact that everybody in their right mind knows that this whole election was fraud.
Right.
And
I
that's,
mean,
and
right
that's
now there's a huge march in DC today. There's 20,000 Proud Boys on the streets right now in DC.
Is there really?
Yes.
Let me
It was fucking nuts last night.
let me let me clear all this real quick.
I heard
got a whole
Right
bunch.
Side Broadcasting wasn't gonna be there because something about the policies and their I don't know.
Oh, I was watching Jeff Mack last night, man. That Proud Boys and them guys were fighting all over the place last night.
Really?
Yeah, they had Black Lives Matter had to retreat behind the police, or they're going to get their asses killed.
Well, probably because they started.
No,
They
yeah,
didn't
they
want
did.
no smoke.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, this right here. I mean, now we got states talking. We have states talking of secession. You know what I'm saying? Which that right there is pretty much nuts.
I just think it's all a joke. I'm not even gonna lie. I think it's this whole play out with the courts is to keep
But with
conservatives
people's
complacent.
lives and people's lives being with people's lives are being being affected, actually being killed as well as all this stuff right here. You know, we got to look at this isn't a joke. I mean, it shouldn't be a joke to us. It's a joke to them.
Yeah,
Yeah, and here's
no,
the
it's not
problem with the whole insurrection and everything. Right now, if you go that new autonomous zone, they're releasing them and not even pressing charges. They already come out and said, we're not pressing charges on any of these guys. But the second you go there and try to end it as an American patriot, they'll throw your ass in prison.
Right. I mean, so this is really getting to a point that it's it's basically what's happening is the United States itself is cracking. You know, because I mean, I think what's going to really tip it off is once states start agreeing with secession. You know, and they start agreeing with succession. I think the states that you know are going to be that you know that are going to be more or less a communist regime are going to have to get out while you can, or else you're
Yeah,
going to be trapped in there fighting.
and not. I mean, if you pay attention, I'm really good at reading body language.
Right.
You know, when I want to be, when it's important. If you pay attention to Trump's last couple of speeches, okay, I can, whether, and I don't, in all these different aspects, I don't always believe, but anyway, the thing, when I look at him and I seen his body language, especially on this last one, it's almost like I see the disappointment. I see that he knows what it is, and his
Yep.
hands are tied, and I just felt defeat in that speech while still trying to give people hope. That's just my perspective.
Well, I guarantee you by February 1st of next year, all the investigations into the Bidens will be gone. And then all of this stuff about Hunter's going to come out in the media. They're going to slam him and they're going to remove him from office. It's going to happen.
Yeah, but who
Gonna
becomes? And also you have to get the dirt off of. I think start with Kamala Harris is what she did in California. That's the only way to get her out. And then whoever becomes um, Speaker of the House, because you know Pelosi ain't going to make it, but there's going to be another idiot that's going to be in there.
This is just sad, man. It's sad, but it's our reality, and unfortunately, the age of technology has helped us now, but we're so far behind. I don't know what to say. I guess it's right
all
or
you can
die.
do is just pray for the best. Prep for the worst and pray for the best. I mean, there's going to be things that are going to take our minds off of politics in the next year. It's not going to be COVID. It's going to be the food shortages. And all this is going to seem like, why the fuck were we sitting there for months arguing about two people that's going to rule us and take all of our money, and there's people starving? I mean,
yeah,
it's going to get bad. They're predicting over 300 million people are going to starve today next year around the world.
Wow.
Can I ask a quick question? I'm not saying you're lying about that at all, because I do believe there's truth to that, but a lot of truth. But my question is this: how many has this been something that has been projected in previous years, or
Yes.
okay, so the whole potential starvation has been predicted in other years?
Yes.
Well, it's been predicted, but when they predict it as a political narrative, it's bullshit. When they're not talking about it, and you see that all of the countries are not exporting food anymore, and India, who usually grow 40% of the world's wheat, is importing wheat now, and all of the crops for the past 2 years
That's because
have failed.
the locusts.
And the locusts are crazy. It's just that there's not going to be enough food to feed people, is what they're saying. It could pull out if we have a good spring and good harvest here, but in the last few years everything got flooded out.
Well, it looked good. It looked good over here in Indiana. You know what I'm saying? So the fields were pretty much full. But
Didn't they have the big derecho though that wiped it all out right at the end of the year?
No, I mean, no, they were cutting it all and doing their thing. I mean, I watched them. I used to go past the fields every day.
Okay, well that's good.
We did.
You know what I'm saying?
We did good. We did good here too, to a point to where my neighbor told me that I mean, even the food banks had very good vegetables and fruits. So if we have an overage of that here, I mean, I guess that's good, you know.
Yeah. So from two states, that is everything looked good here. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot for harvest.
That's good.
But yeah. So if the news is telling you one thing, I'll go Indiana and Wisconsin. Our fields are looking all right. You know what I'm saying?
But that, I mean, but like Josh is saying, what's that can do for,
Yeah, I was talking third world countries are going to starve, not us.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know what? And I hate thinking this in my mind, but at the end
Fuck
of the
them,
day,
right?
damn it, man. I hate it, but it is.
But
I mean,
if they can use any means necessary, say there ain't no food and they start making everything look like shortages. Who's the main organization that comes in to help?
Yo, let me pay the water bill real quick. Y'all go ahead and talk.
Okay.
All right.
Who brings in all the help in countries like that? The UN. No, it's the UN. We give them the money and the food, but the UN does all the distribution of it.
Okay.
So now with all these lockdowns coming up and more people going to be hungry, I'm telling you, I mean, anything could fucking happen. Nothing's going to surprise me. But everybody who's sitting here keeps saying this, Trump's still going to win, man. They need to fucking wake up and realize it's not going to fucking happen, or it would have.
Yeah, I mean,
Sidney Powell and all these guys, if they're so fucking great and they're saviors or whatever this fucking movement, why hasn't it happened? If their case is so airtight, like they've been saying since the election, why hasn't it happened?
Yeah, and then they mentioned that the guy that owns the servers was gonna be subpoenaed, and it's like I can't anymore.
They can't subpoena the one guy from Smartmatic. He mysteriously died in a fucking plane crash in Morocco
Recently.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. I'm on the same page with you, and
I just don't. I don't know. I mean, maybe we've been lied to, Kelly. I'm not. I'm just looking at everything. I'm just being. That's how you debate. Is you bring everything up. What if we're being lied to about the election? What if it wasn't as fucked up as they're saying it is, and all these guys are just trying to Trump's just trying to be a dick. I mean, I don't know.
You know what, though? But due to what was going on in the affidavits, that kind of debunks that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, why would somebody sit there and lie about something like that, and then also
Right. But if they knew it was going to get thrown out anyway, the affidavits don't mean shit. They know if they go after him for the affidavits and lying, then I mean they're not even going to waste their time on it, and they know it.
These people don't have they don't have morals.
Right.
So why do they care about lying to us? Is like you just pointed at when you said that, you made it very clear. You said, why would they lie? And us as humans, okay, being, caring about having humanity, we think like that. Like, why would they do that? Why would they lie? But
I don't believe because that one blonde hair chick with the glasses remind me of that homegirl on Ghostbusters from out there in Michigan. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Ghostbusters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Oh, dude, she was fucking off the chain.
Yeah, she was good.
My whole life is ruined. I can't even get a job. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she sat there and broke it down how fucked up her life was.
And you hear all that, and why isn't the courts all these? And here's another thing that nobody's looking at. During all that, everybody's calling it a hearing like it's some court case or something. It's not. It wasn't a hearing. It wasn't a case. It wasn't a court. It was basically them renting a fucking Marriott, bringing in all the Republicans, and then having this display on TV. It meant nothing. It was not. Everybody's keep misunderstanding of what these were. They were not hearings. They were public grievances being aired in public at like the Hyatt Regency Hotel.
That's what a hearing is grievances.
Right, but they act like it's some kind of law, like they're basing it in law, and they weren't.
But here's the thing is, you know what I'm saying? What she was, it was right. We were done here on a sworn affidavit. Were you?
Right. They were there because the courts wouldn't listen. That was like a last resort. It's like the courts are not going to hear this, so we've got to get it out in the public.
Now,
but then no mainstream media covered it anyway, so nobody's hearing any of this.
But when
everybody starts shooting each other, everybody on the left is going to be like, "What the fuck's going on? Why is everybody so pissed?"
I mean, as I said, there's more to this than meets the eye. I mean, as I said, I'm sitting back.
It's politics, of course it is.
I'm eating my popcorn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And stuff like that because this is what was said. Sit back, eat your popcorn, because you know what? Because I tell you, this ride is rocky. This ride is rocky as hell.
I mean, especially I hate to say this, but me being a prepper, man, I can withstand a little bit, but there's a lot of people that won't, and I'm not scared about the government. I'm scared about a hungry populace. A hungry populace is way more dangerous than any government.
Let's pray to God that it doesn't come to that. You know what I'm saying?
I hope it doesn't.
but
You
let
know, and
alone
truth be told, I had filled up a Rubbermaid container with like canned goods that were expired a little bit, and I
That's
thought,
fine.
and I know, but listen, I was gonna have my son take it to the dumpster, and I stopped him like, oh, wait a minute, what the fuck am I doing? I'm keeping that shit.
Hey, I can give you channels, Kelly, where a guy is taking that's a best buy date, not an expiration date. Let me explain how that works. That best buy date is to save them from being sued if they eat it past that. But that stuff will stay good for years, years and years and years. There's guys that eat that 5 years past that date. There's ways to tell if it's bad.
What about rice and beans? Are they
keep them
They'll
dry.
keep them dry, they'll stay forever.
okay? Well, they've been dry, but I
Yeah.
think one is a couple months.
Yeah, and cook some
off the
potatoes.
date.
They grow some potatoes.
Yeah, I mean, I've got rice that's 8 years old.
Okay, all right. Then I don't.
They found rice and honey in Tutankhamun's tomb that was still edible.
Wow.
The honey was still edible. They ate it.
Oh,
My
honey
whole
never
thing
goes.
is like
Honey never goes
water.
bad. Honey,
What-
Nope.
honey. Also, honey doesn't have. Honey doesn't have. It kills bacteria, so it's impossible for bacteria to actually live in it. You know, that's what they use. That's what they use, and that's what they used back in the day for what you call it.
It's the best allergy medicine you can use. If you go buy local honey and have a teaspoon of it a day in some tea, you'll never need allergy medicine again.
Wow. Well,
Right.
my aunt does bees. She has a whole bee farm. So anytime I need honey, I just call her.
Well, you need to do that every day, Kelly. Every day, a little bit of honey. Every day.
But I'm telling you, man, it's like this. Now it's coming about state succession. I go, man, we're going to. I go, it sounds like, man, we're going to be in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
If
I
other
was
states
thinking
start
to
getting on-
myself, we might need, for the some of us that aren't homeowners, I'm like, damn, what if we all just got together, got a group of people, and I know $5,000 seems like a lot of money to people, to some people, but I'm like, damn, 5,000 wouldn't be hard to come by, okay? Not that I have money like that. I'm just saying I could get $5,000, and enough to where we could buy some acres. And then I think on the other side, well, do that for what? Because if it really goes left, is it gonna matter?
Because
Nope.
number one, because the reason is you buy the land, right? You only own the land on top, but you don't learn the minerals. The government can come in and take the minerals and fuck you in your land.
I know I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, if shit really hit the fan, as they say, would that even matter if we, I don't think it would matter.
With a lot of ammo and go out fighting like Tony Montana.
But you're still gonna die. The
you
end
ain't gonna.
result is death.
Everybody thinks that this fucking Civil War thing, and if going against the federal government is like it's going to be some fucking cakewalk, they're fucking nuts.
Mm-mm.
It's not.
I know.
You're not gonna fucking go against the federal government. I've got plenty of shit stocked up for protecting my house, but if you got 20 or 5 Navy fucking SEALs coming at my house, I'm a dead man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be real. Those motherfuckers will kill you.
But you know what, though? I'd rather die in the name of Jesus Christ.
Hell yes, I agree with that. I'm not saying anything about that, but to get the mindset to where we're going to go out and just do this, and we've got enough people, we're going to do that. You ain't going to do shit. You're going to die or end up in prison.
Mm-hmm.
The only way is like secession. You got to have a state backing you with state National Guard and state troops and military bases, and you got to have that behind you.
And that's going to hurt. And that's going to hurt the feds big time if these states succeed, and then all these military bases.
Once one state succeeds, it's going to be this start of a civil war.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because think about, if Texas is talking about it, how many other states are going to be talking about it?
Well, and it could be. Let's take this tack. Say Texas secedes before January 20th. He could literally declare martial law, saying, "Hey, the union is unstable," and just stay in office because they've got to rectify why states are seceding from the union. That may be a ploy.
That may be part of the plan too.
I mean, because if Texas goes, Oklahoma's going right about. We have to.
Right.
Fuck, we'll be having goddamn military on the border if not.
Indiana too.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the whole Midwest and Mideast would be. You know what I'm saying?
Texas is on its own power grid. They could try. They can't do this whole shut off power to the state and stop all the resources. They can't do that with Texas. Texas is on its own power grid.
We're in some very, very interesting times.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that could possibly happen. The reason being is because then the states sit there and because the whole union is unstable. You can't.
Right. Nobody thought about that. I mean, if states start to secede, they're like, they can't do a peaceful transition of power if the fucking union is in disarray.
Yeah. That may be the only way too.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And
it's crazy to think, but there's a lot of options. But man, I really think that God, come February, Biden's family's going to be pardoned, and fuck, who knows, man. I really wish I could say that Trump's law team is going to get all this shit going, but I really think the people that are against him just ain't going to let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid it's just too big of an animal for him to fight.
Yeah.
But I'm going to watch Washington D.C. today because, man, if Antifa and BLM start provoking these guys got like they didn't come to play.
Oh yeah, shots fired, man. You know what I'm saying? Shots will be fired.
It almost happened last night.
Man, I mean, this is. I mean, I go 1775 and 1861 all combined into one.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because this is exactly what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? And these people really think this is a joke. Like, do these cats really want war?
They talk a big game, but I mean, they don't understand that some of us got families and shit. I can't. I mean, my family is precious, man. I got to protect them to all costs. I'm not going to go to Washington, D.C. and get myself thrown in fucking prison.
Right.
There's a big stream.
Well, it's looking peaceful right now, though. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but last night it wasn't, man. They were throwing each other in the streets last night, beating the shit out of each other.
Wow, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they had to retreat behind the police because fucking Proud Boys were fucking them up.
And Proud Boys didn't mess with the police and just, all right, dude, you punk ass bitches.
No, they didn't. I mean, but we'll just see what happens. I mean, I'm not saying the Proud Boys. I don't. Either way, I don't really, but they're there fighting the fight right now, so we'll see what happens.
Well, only thing I support, man, is freedom in our Constitution.
That's
good
right.
to have people out there, but I guess the only thing I'm saying is don't force the people's hand.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of people. I mean, we've been fighting wars for 20 years, man. There's a lot of people out there that are very skilled at war. And they're silent right now. You don't hear a lot of them. Some of the Proud Boys, sure. But there's thousands that don't even get on the internet. They don't talk about it. They've got groups everywhere. That's the ones you got to worry about. When those fuckers start showing up and everybody's asking, who the fuck are they? That's when you're going to start seeing that shit's getting real.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, man. I mean, because you know what? Because this transition ain't going to go peacefully.
No. I mean, I don't see. I don't know.
I want to tell you what, though. If Joe Biden gets inaugurated, I think he'll cancel the inauguration.
He already has. He's doing his inauguration from his basement. You didn't hear all this? He's doing the inauguration in his basement. He's going to do the dance and everything. And he's going to have cars outside honking while he's doing it.
Fucking really?
Yep. This all came out already.
Oh shit, that was a good guess then, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. He's going to be like, I'm going to Washington. These motherfuckers going to shoot me. But if he gets in, the first thing he's going to do is amnesty, pardon his family before they take him out.
But dude, he won't be able to set foot in fucking Washington D.C. They'll probably have to put his ass in fucking NORAD.
Yeah, and then don't be surprised. January 21st, Trump has no social media. They'll take him and ban him off of all of it.
No, they're after him. Like they never sit there talking about, oh well, won't Trump pardon himself? They ain't going to stop with fucking Flynn. What makes you think they're going to stop with President Trump?
Yeah, I don't know. He probably is thinking in his own head, why pardon myself? I've done nothing wrong.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But as I say, and that's what. But here's the thing is though, man, and what they're afraid of too. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because even though, and they know it, we know it, I know it, and because it's always like that. All right. Even though Trump is out of the office, Trump will still have power, and that's what they're afraid.
Oh yeah, it's a movement. It's not just Trump.
You know what I'm
It's a we
saying?
the people thing.
That's why they want him so bad. You know what I'm saying? Because after he gets out, because they know damn well if he's out there in the public, he has more power in the public, just like what Trump did with Steve Bannon.
Yep.
And I seen that a mile away. I said, you know what, Bannon's better outside the White House than inside of it. I said that a long time ago on Mo's channel.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I really hope everything doesn't go crazy sideways, but I mean, I don't have faith that that's not going to happen. I mean,
right.
I'm just waiting for that Fort Sumter moment, you know.
As I says, man, this is number one. Is we're in the red zone now in the football game. We're on defense to see what happens. We need an interception.
Yep.
And a pick six. But
I just don't know where it's at. I mean, it's got to be there. There's got to be an out, but
dude, these people are never going to give up, man. These people are backed by the devil. Only Jesus can fucking get this dude, man. Get these cats. You know what I'm saying? Because as I said,
it's kind of funny. You said that to me, and I'm sitting at a stoplight looking at this sign that says "Journey to Bethlehem." Oh my God! Fucking here's your sign.
Yeah, because this is relentless. As I said, man, I believe something supernatural, man. You know what I'm saying? I really believe that something supernatural that's going to happen, man. And some people are going to see it, some people aren't going to see it, but something's definitely going to happen to them. I mean, now what I'm seeing in PA, a lot of my friends have COVID now. All of a sudden, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel bad. But at the same time, I'm like, y'all better make sure y'all have COVID. You know what I'm saying? And to anybody from Pennsylvania, my friends and all that, y'all better make sure y'all have COVID, kid. I go, there's too many of y'all getting COVID all of a sudden. I'm just saying. Don't take the word from it, dude.
The local news here interviewed somebody that got the vaccine and said the first one was okay, that the second one, they got sick as hell like COVID. So like, are they just giving you COVID? What the fuck is the point?
Basically. I mean, that's what it's like. That's what it looks like to me. You know what I mean? Just to be honest. But like I'm saying, man, like anybody out there, man, who got a positive COVID test, you know, get a second opinion.
Well, that's just it. After the first shot, he got tested for antibodies. He had the antibodies, which was supposed to happen. and then he got sick after the second shot, and then a day later said he felt like he's never felt before, like as good as he's ever felt in his entire life.
Remember, they're
What
changing.
the fuck is that?
Remember, but also, man, they say that stuff changes your DNA.
Yeah, like, why do they got to keep it at 117 degrees below zero? What the fuck is that?
Mm-hmm.
How is that normal?
Right. Like I said, also, like I said, them talking about aliens and all that shit like that, man. And dude, like, this is too much shit happening at one time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know what to believe, and that's why I'm like, okay, dude, I'm not jumping on anybody's bandwagon. I go,
I had an epiphany when they started talking about aliens. I'm like, man, the whole world's looking at the United States and saying, motherfucker, get these guys talking about something else before they start killing each other. Aliens!
yeah, no, I think they're Nephilim. You know what I'm saying? I think they're actually Nephilim. You know what I'm saying? Because
Maybe.
I'll tell you what, though. I'm being honest, man. I'm saying close to the word. You know what I mean? On this,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Because, as I said, what's funny is I'm sitting there saying this for film, like it's my only safety net right now. You know what I'm saying? It's my only safety net. So I go, I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fundamental. If you want to peg me, I'm a fundamental constitutionalist. All my thoughts are my own. My platform is the thoughts of my own, as well as everybody's thoughts that their own, or some people's thoughts aren't their own. But on my platform, my thoughts are my own, not influenced by anybody. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm just going by. That's why I sit there and go, man, the only thing we can do right now is speculate. And I can honestly say, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I'm completely cool with that. You know what I mean?
Well, I think we'll know more after the 18th when they start, voting for the Electoral College. See how that, if it goes and they vote straight like how the election ended up, it's over for Trump. It's over.
Oh yeah, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Now,
if some of them start breaking rank and start voting for him and it doesn't end up like the election, I don't know what the fuck happens then.
But I tell you what, Joe, man. But if they sit there and break ranks from it, then it's going to be a whole bag of worms.
Yeah, whatever happened to the servers in Germany? How come we don't hear about that shit?
Well,
if
no, it's actually there's a lot about it online underground, but it's not on mainstream media because they were saying about that there was actually they said that was a shootout.
Yeah, that's what I heard. 5 people died, and Gina Haspel's got hurt, and I don't understand if it's all there. Then what the fuck?
Because they're trying to quiet it all because I'm thinking it's a military versus a CIA. Is that what it sounds like?
No, what I've been hearing is Gina Haspel hired private security, like militant private security, and that's who we got in the shootout with.
Oh. So the CIA was fighting against security.
Yes, it was against private security.
But you know that was sent by the military intelligence.
They knew about it, of course. They had to have.
Right, you know what I'm saying, and stuff, and they just let that happen because why? To sit there and have a shootout with the CIA and the U.S. military with all them bases out in Germany, not doing a thing about it. You know what I mean? So obviously it was a military intelligence operation. They just couldn't have the military do it themselves. That's the way I'm looking at it. You know what I'm saying? That's just from watching just from playing Call of Duty and stuff like that. You know how the military can't touch different operations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, so
I want to know what the fuck was on the servers. How come none of that? If it's treason, I don't know, or sedition. I don't get why nothing's happening. on that side of it.
As I says, you know what? I ain't gonna say I don't get. I says I don't know what's happening.
Right.
I
True.
go, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what's happening because number one is like with AG Bar. Okay, I'm still in question here because there's still cards to be played. Okay,
Oh
it's
yeah.
like okay, is AG Bar is he the swamp or still giving the rope or he's a swamp? That's the only two
Well,
things.
I mean, if people are under investigation, just because it happened in 2016, he's not supposed to come out and announce that. He's got to keep the investigation insular from everything. He's not supposed to come out and say, "Hey, these guys are under." We already knew they were under investigation. I mean, the smart people did.
Right. But here's the thing: is the news sitting there lying about it, and as I says, man. I mean, share this video though, man. Go look. The proof is there, man, on what the press said and what the press is saying now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
The flip is evident. I made sure I had it. You know what I mean? That you know what I'm saying? Well, I thought I put it up there, but I had to find it during another video. You know what I'm saying? But after that, because that was the main point to sit there and close it up. Like, here's what the press said months ago. Here's what the press is saying now. And I said what's saying now. You know what I'm saying first. So people sit there and watch the video. They watch the video. If they don't watch the video, they don't watch the video. But you know what? The information is there. You know what I mean? That's all I gotta say about
Yeah.
that.
All you can do is put it out there, and hopefully it figures out. But hey, Jeff Mack usually has a really good stream on stuff in Washington D.C., and he usually kicks it off right about dark because that's when all the shit goes down. So, but I got to jump off of here. I'm about to pick up my wife from dialysis, and good show today, bro.
All right, well, thank you, man. And I'm getting ready to go myself. I just wanted to put this out there. So all y'all be cool. God bless. Fuck you, Zuckerberg. Fuck you, Twitter.
Zuckerberg.
You know what I'm saying? Fuck you,
All right,
mainstream media, and all y'all. And also to everybody else, man, God bless. Check you out later. Peace. I'm out.
God bless everybody.